Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the D2 Talks, the most viewed show in this house. In this house, that's all we watch, only D2 Talks. God. I really hope you had a fantastic week and you enjoyed last week's show with Andras Kaldos from Brick Visual. This week on the show, I have the pleasure to have Reinaldo Handaya of 2GS, a studio based in Bali, Indonesia. A very large studio actually, that was started by two guys, Reinaldo and Evan. I remember looking at the work of Reinaldo when I first started around 2011, 2012. I remember finding his work very inspiring. I always looked up to him and I'm very excited to have him on the show today. He came to Vienna, I had the pleasure to meet him in person, and I have to say that talking to Reinaldo is a very, I want to say, holistic experience because he's a very calm, very inspiring person. I really have the feeling that he only talks when he really knows what he's talking about. Which is, a characteristic that nowadays it's very hard to find in a lot of people. Okay, no judgment there. Enough of me, blah 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 blah. Enjoy the show. I think we're live. We're recording. Dude, very nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's nice to see you again too.
Everything okay?
Yes, everything okay, and we kind of like we have a full capacity at the moment, which is
Okay.
good. Yeah,
I was going through your pictures, just to because there are a couple of things that I wanted to ask you, and I saw a picture of you with Basil from Chaos Group, in
yeah,
2013. He's
yeah.
a super awesome guy. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
I do agree with that.
So
Yes,
so
I learned a
kind and
lot.
so kind
Yeah,
and so polite.
I know. We usually have a smoke together as well.
Okay. Listen, one of the very first pictures that I remember clearly, seeing the work of yours, the Starbucks cafe. You remember a project that you did, I
Yes,
think in 2012 or something.
yeah, I
I
know.
I,
I
ha-
remember.
I have a picture now on my screen. This back then was something that I was like, oh my god, this is fantastic. Who is this guy? And then I remember that we started talking a while after that. You remember?
Yeah.
So, dude, I'm just gonna make a very quick introduction about you, who you are. You are the founder of 2G Studio together with
Well,
Evan, I think.
with Evan. Yeah, with Evan.
And you guys are now based in Bali.
Yes.
Ah, the beautiful life, huh?
It is paradise. We live in paradise, man.
Okay, I'm going to ask you only one thing. Since there is a little bit of reverb, when I say something, just give it a couple of seconds before answering because otherwise the microphone doesn't pick up.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, like this. Um, I have a couple of questions that I want to ask you because I'm very interested in the work that you do. I think you are a fantastic artist, although now you have become clearly a businessman, and everything that you're doing is moving more towards that direction, whilst you have a team of super talented people doing work for you. My first question is, how did you get started?
Well, I don't really remember exactly how we started, but I mean, uh, it is really hard for us to have a rendering job in this country, to be honest with you. And then for us to start, back then we charged like 500 US dollar. It
Okay.
is a big money for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like me and Evan say 500 bucks per image is quite big money for us. So if we can make several images, then it's great. We can live uh, happy in Indonesia. But when the business start, like I mean, like you get more and more job. It's more stress. You will get more stress, and then we starting to add some artists, and then starting to invest on machine like the workstation, and then the software, and then we realized that $500 is not enough.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And then after that, we have to have. I mean, like we have a meeting, like a really long meeting, where we are going to bring this company. I mean, the direction of the company. So we decided to go bigger. Well, I know that will blow up the cost. Then because of that, we have to change our services. So we are not just doing a couple of image like previously, like when we started uh, the the job in this industry.
Um, Tell me one thing. I know that you are friend with Jeff Motto, and I've seen some
Well,
pictures. I've seen some pictures of you speaking at some conference that he organized.
me?
Yeah, I saw some pictures of, or maybe I'm mistaken.
No, well, I was a guest speaker for Chaos Group event in Asia Pacific back then. And that when I met Anna Radulova, the territorial manager from Chaos Group for Asia Pacific, and of course the crazy Fasil. Yeah, and then uh, I also invited on 3D Symposium, if you know the event
Yeah, yeah.
in Mexico, the first 3D Symposium, but I didn't make it to come there because I have a internal issue that time. I'm not the company, but my own family.
Yeah.
So that's it. So I only attend the event that Jeff actually held, which is Shadow Society at I think around 2012.
Okay, okay, I remember that. And
Yeah.
the reason why I'm asking this is because when I was talking about you and about the stuff that you're doing with Jeff, Jeff said to me, "Reinaldo is such a clever businessman, you have no idea." And I was like,
Well,
well, all I can say is that I look at the work that he does and the way the company is growing, and I can only, think that that he's a great business guy. And I think that eventually what you have done, it's because you are, of course, a very good artist, but even better, a business person.
well, my family is a business family. Yeah. So I think I already used to doing business, I guess.
I like how humble you are, very humble, very.
Thank you very much. But for me, I don't really think that I'm a clever guy in a business. I mean, like I think it's more on practicing. Everything is about practicing,
It's true.
and do you have the guts or not to take the leap of faith on what you are doing?
That's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, and then I think like for us in 2GS, if you asking me about Jeff, well, for us, Jeff is more as a savior for us. He the one let us know what happened in this industry, and we keep and then he one day told me uh, the relation should come first and money comes later. And I still remember he told me that on 2012, and still I'm still holding on those words.
It's I really like the way you speak. It's really like it's very calming down. It's totally different from all the talks that I've had until now. The
Thank
ones
you.
that the ones that you have seen online, they're just a little part. I've been recording a few more, and I'm now working on publishing those. But this is really, it's really nice. I'm really happy that we're doing this. I'm going to ask you something that has nothing to do with 3D, but in my opinion, from me following you, I have seen like um a lot of improvement in your business and the way you're doing business and how busy you are, with also the fact that you are getting in better shape with your body. But you understand what I mean?
I know. Yeah, I understand. Yes. Yeah, I mean, like, it is all about, first, I think about how you manage your own time. I always believe that our own time is, we the one decide what we are going to do with our time. I'm not going to let the job going to dictate my time. Because again, if you keep pursuing the money, you will end up not sleeping 24 hours or like a week probably. So I always think that you need to love your own self. You need to love yourself because if it's not you, nobody will. So I have to manage my time and I have to delegate my job, of course. It is hard to delegate your own job because you know that the one that going to work on it is not going to 100% like what you want. Definitely right. But I think it's a part of how you let it go something and let them learn by doing. Otherwise, nobody will be able to make you happy.
This is true. I mean, I see with your office that you guys do very often like learning activities.
Learning.
Learning activities like workshops. I see that, from time to time you guys learn new software in the studio. I've seen,
Oh yeah, yeah. So we have a research and development department.
this is a
So
very big word. I'm going to use this word in some videos in the future because I'm working on some ideas. But keep talking because this is very interesting to me.
yeah, I think like if you, I mean like if you see those big company, they always have a research and development department to test of what kind of things that they can sell, new things, what kind of new product they will be able to provide to get more profit, of course, to get more job. So we also did the same thing because like previously we don't have those kind of department, which is it's pretty much dead end for us if you keep doing production. And there's no way if your artist with all those kind of production job, they will be able to have time to learn a new software. So you need to dedicate a whole new department to learn about the software, and then the artist that the artist in this part department will be able to teach the senior artist or the other uh, I mean like the other artists. It is easier if you have someone teach you about the software instead of you are trying to learn it from scratch, right?
Yeah, of course, absolutely, absolutely. You know, at the moment online, the conversation that I'm having with people is, you should be able to do research and development and make your client pay for research and development. But the counter argument that people have is the research and development, it's only for big companies. And I think this is wrong, because actually as a freelancer, it is easier for you to make more money than a big company, because a big company has to look for jobs and has to look for people that have more money to spend on a project. Whilst a freelancer, if he does a single job, the whole part of the earnings goes to him and it doesn't have to be managed among a team. So, research and development becomes even more important for a single freelancer, because the freelancer needs to learn very little to ask for more money. A company needs to be even more advanced in what they do because they have to offer higher rates. What do you think?
Well, I do agree with your opinion, but I know it is hard for a freelancer to keep learning new things because this industry, uh, like, I mean, in a year, you can see a lots of updates, like even V-Ray, even Corona, and then all of a sudden, sign designer pop up like that, and then now you can see the Lumion, right? So it is hard to catch up. So for my point of view, it is hard for one single freelancer to do those kind of things. So I think they have to decide. I mean, like they need to think first which direction they will go. Are they going to use keep doing 3D Max and Fury or Corona, or they will stick around with SketchUp and Lumion?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it is best if a couple of freelancer trying to group and build a company, even though it's small. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, they have to calculate the cost on their images price. Otherwise, nobody will pay, right?
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is a very good point. I agree with you. I see what you're saying. Um, it's something that I have to think about myself, because, for instance, the way I do it, I take a very long time in, you know, I take a couple of months where I say, okay, now I'll focus, and probably I work less and I try to learn something new, like I'm doing right now. For instance, right now, since I'm more into teaching, I'm trying to learn new software, because as a teacher it's difficult, to be good if new software and new technologies come out and you don't know them. You know what I mean?
I know.
So I think there should be like some middle ground, because I think that probably freelancers should, and they should find some way to cooperate with each other in order to push themselves. And I agree with you 100%, because I've seen, when one freelancer is working, when two freelancers are working, they push each other and they do better.
Yeah.
Is this what happened with you and Evan? Because basically you guys work together since the beginning.
Well, you're trying to open my kitchen. Well, okay. So back then, well, we only two of us. So Evan, or the one that handle all the projects, like all the images, he the one did all the rendering and all the scene preparations, while I'm the one who did the research and development, mostly on V-Ray. V-Ray render setup is something that you need to learn if you don't want to have a problem if you have a big, massive project.
Yes.
And then a lot of trial and error, learning about Photoshop, post-production, color grading, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So we end up sleeping only like 4 or 6 hours back then, because uh, Evan have to do the production. I have to do the research and development. That is the only way to, I think, from my point of view, and also from Evan's point of view, that is the fastest way to get money and learn at the same time. It is, I don't think it is wise if you have 2% and then everyone works on the production.
Okay, yeah, that's a different way to put it, because so far with everybody that I've talked, um, they say otherwise. But I think that you have a very solid point. I think it's something definitely different to think about and to experiment with. I think at the moment where um, software and the workflow that people are using is becoming, so to say, almost so standard that you really need to engineer the way you make money or you produce your work, because otherwise there is too much of the same things out there, and you have no ability to differentiate yourself in a sea of like services, which is the one of architectural visualization. I have a question. um, are you investing into any other business at the moment, or are you still only focused on architectural visualization?
Well, we already decided to work on the artist, but as you know, we have the 2G Academy.
Yes, yes. I should
Yeah,
have mentioned that. Yes. Uh,
yes,
uh,
we
re-
have the 2G,
repeat it because the sound was not good.
2G Academy.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we also have another website, which is selling assets, but it's not really working at the moment because we have too much work on the production. But definitely next year we're going to revive the G Trove and then the 2G Academy together. Yeah.
Okay, this is fantastic. I hear, I've talked to a lot of people that told me that took your course, and it was actually a really, really good course.
Thank you.
Justin Bourne is one of them.
Yes.
And
He is a very stubborn student back then.
but you need to be stubborn if you want to go somewhere, right?
Yes, and persistence.
And persistent. But I think he's doing very well for the fact that he just started, and he's very young. Um, I think he told me that also he got very good mentorship from you, and I think to me the most important part of your story and the most inspiring one is that a lot of people say that it's easy to start a company in a third world economy like Indonesia, because you need very little money to start. But I think that once you get to a point where the company is as big as yours, you cannot have such difference in terms of pricing. You cannot
Yes.
offer the same prices as, say, a little kid that is making renderings for 100 euros per image. This is impossible.
Sorry. Your voices.
Oh,
I don't see.
I
Yeah.
said, once you get to the size of your company, you cannot offer an image for 100 euros like people think.
Okay. Yeah. That is exactly right. But to start a company in a third world country, it is easier if you start with pirated software. Yeah, I think everyone does the same things, I guess. But it is about the mindset again, about the mindset. So once we go bigger, we want to give back the favor to the company that create software like such 3D Max and then V-Ray as well. So anyway, V-Ray is my first genuine light software though to start with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
continue.
yeah, but again, the workstation price is pretty much the same, or even higher for us because the the transport, and then even the license. The license is pretty much the same price here in the United States. So at some point, our cost is actually bigger if you compare the price of your images and the investment that you already made. So we have a smaller profit, yes.
No, I know it's a little bit of a paradox. A while ago, I was reading an article on some website from Nvidia, written by a sales guy from Nvidia, and he was saying that the biggest issue in the software industry is that all the upcoming countries, they invest a lot of money in hardware because they have to buy it, so the hardware needs to be produced, and the software is actually always pirated. So in order to leverage the industry, they need to find a way to involve these countries into buying more software, because the hardware, in a way, it's not, first of all, not sustainable, because they have a lot more sales, say, in Asia than in Europe, but the software, it's almost zero. Like, they sell very little. So, I think that now these things are changing, because the companies that are growing, they're realizing the importance of like paying software and having support, if the support, of course, is given. Um, but I guess that a lot of the stuff that you said, it kind of makes sense. And I think that companies actually appreciate that, and they understand also the side of the designer.
Yeah, that's I mean, like, I heard a lot about the software, the pirated software on the Asian country. Yeah, I do aware. Like, I used the pirated software back then. You know, it just back to the artists. Like, it's, I mean, like, what kind of mindset that they have.
Yeah,
If
of course.
Yeah, like, so I talked with some artists if not just in Indonesia, but it's also from Vietnam and then the other Asian country. They keep saying, if there's the pirated version and it's free, why I have to pay, right? This
Yeah.
is uh, this is the mindset. I think it's not about they're willing to pay or not. They definitely have the money to pay. Like, uh, for example, Corona. Corona is quite cheap, right? The Corona license is quite cheap, but again, they still decided to use the pirated version.
Yeah.
So no matter how low you sell your software, if they don't want to buy, then they don't want to buy, unless you can make, unless the developer can make sure there are no pirated version out there, or the pirated version is pretty much outdated.
Yeah, I think at one point, what people don't understand is that if they don't start paying for the software, then soon they're gonna be left without the tool that gives them the bread, Because, yeah, you can say I go open source, or I don't use a legal version. But at the end, it's not about the fact that it's open source. It's about the fact that if you want your client to pay you, it's also good to have responsibilities, To say, okay, listen, I'm paying for a software. you client cannot tell me that you can get it cheaper somewhere else. These are my costs and you have to work with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's more on the day rate. It's makes. I mean, like, I don't know how to say it. I mean, like, if you pay for software, your cost is bigger. It's it's going to put you on a different market. So you're going to have a different segmentation. If you don't pay the software, you will always have the mindset. Okay, my cost is really low. So if I sell my image for 500 bahts, then those are all my profit, which is that is totally absurd, right? If you
Yeah.
have a bigger company, uh, it's not just about the software. You need to have a project manager. You need to have a account manager. Then you need to have a creative director, right? This will add up really quick, and then you will end up having a very less profit, which is again 500 bahts is not going to cover anything,
But
not even close.
actually, now that I've done a survey in the last few days, and actually the price of an image is getting higher in Asia, although there are people that say, yeah, I need $200 for an image. Okay, fair enough. But a lot of people said we need at least between 500 and $1,000, which is good because in countries like Italy, you still have people that are asking 500 bucks for one image. And they
Okay.
say that this is the market price. And I don't believe so. I don't believe so because I know companies that are charging a lot more than this. And I think that it's also a question of talking about prices that will, at the end, make the work condition better for everybody. Because at this point, I don't care about making images if money is the issue. If I cannot make enough money to feed my family or to keep on growing into my business. At that point, I can even go and work at McDonald's and then I do the images in the weekend so that I'm happy and I can make a good rendering for myself because otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Yes, I do agree with you. Like, I mean, like, uh, let's let's say about in Indonesia, for example, it's not 500 actually. It's 50 bucks.
50
50,
bucks.
yeah, 50.
Jeez.
So, so I know you're probably going to kill yourself when you work. Yeah, I mean, like, see, and those kind of people will keep saying those are the market price. Well, I think it is depend on what kind of service that you are going to provide. What is your product? That is like it like uh, probably this is what Justin Bourne said about me mentoring him back then. I always ask him, if you want to sell try your image higher, let me ask you one thing. What is your product? And he cannot answer. Even my other student, like if you saw my penthouse rendering, we collaborate with one of my former student, sotomayor.com, which is from Spain, Madrid.
Okay.
I always ask him also the same things. What is your products? What kind of service that you are offering? If you cannot define your product, you will end up selling uh, images like a brochure, like just 100 bucks for an images, right?
Yeah.
The I think what define your, I mean, what the service that you are going to offer to your client is going to define your price, because there are lots of activities inside your company, right?
Yes.
yeah, let's say Uri does it, and Veronica. Like I'm really uh, I'm a big fan of their work. I talk to them a lot, and they are really really nice person. And
And they're very
like
clever, and they're really, really clever.
yes, I do agree. And like if you watch their image, there is something, there's a vibe that you can say, okay, this is what I wanted, right? I mean, I don't know, I don't really, I mean, like the storytelling or something. Lots of people talking about the storytelling, but I'm more on the how I can experience the room through an image, and that's it. I don't really need storytelling things.
Yes, but this is one other spectrum of the story. I think that both are important, but it is up to the artist to understand which one is needed for which project. Like, for instance, I agree
Yes.
with you. The What Uri does is unbelievably breathtaking. Like, I can look at his pictures for hours, and I'm like, it's not about the realism, it's not about the composition, it's not about the style, it's about all of them together in perfection.
Yes.
And I think that in a way, if we talk about storytelling, is that very often when you need a story, it's because probably the project by itself doesn't tell anything good, or anything special. So you need to tell a story
Right.
about it. But I
Yes.
agree with you 100%. I think that what the work of those guys is beyond, the understanding of how to present a project the way Yura and Veronica do is at another level.
Yes. I completely agree with that.
Dude, just one thing. We are already 36 minutes in.
Okay.
It goes so fast. It's the goal is for
Yeah.
always to keep it below 30 minutes, but I am never able to. I want to ask you one last thing, and then we say goodbye, okay?
Okay.
If say that you are an artist that is struggling, that is not getting paid enough, that is in a hole and is not able to stop charging $50 per image, but wants to go to the next level, okay? Somebody maybe from a country like Indonesia, for instance. What would your
Okay.
recommendation be? And I don't want to open your kitchen.
Learn about business. That's all.
Learn about business. Oh, yes! Yes! Somebody's talking about this. Reynaldo, I'm really happy that we did this. I'm really, really happy that we did this. There will be some other videos that I want to have your opinion on. Um, Please, let's talk in the future so that I can know your opinion on the things that I want to do, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Reynaldo, I'm gonna stop the recording, but then I'm going to say goodbye to yourself, okay? So if you
Okay.
want to say something else to the people watching this, maybe where they can find you, a website or Facebook, just say it now.
Yeah. Our website is www.2gs.co. And then if you want to visit us on the academy, you can visit on www.2gacademy.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm gonna put something on the screen so that people can read it. I'm gonna stop the recording. Thanks a lot for doing this. I think was spot on.
The pleasure is mine.